Okay, I like the Apostle Peter because he's quite a practical guy. He just says it like it is. He likes to know the reasons for things. So do I. And sometimes the reasons for things actually can really help us because at the minute there is, a lot of people are going through hardships, difficult times, of course. But, I find one of the things that helps me cope is whenever I understand why things are the way they are sometimes. Now, I'm not saying I've got all the answers for everything, but Peter has given us a few answers for why sometimes life has to be difficult. In fact, that's why he wrote the book of First Peter, to show us why suffering and hardships is useful. So I'm going to read a few verses here from 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 3 to 7. And I want you to notice, just as we read this, his suggestion that this is actually really useful, that difficulties are useful. Okay, so 1 Peter 1 verse 3. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. According to his great mercy, he has caused us to be born again to a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, to an inheritance that is imperishable, undefiled, and unfading, kept in heaven for you, who by God's power are being guarded through faith for a salvation ready to be revealed in the last time. In this you rejoice, though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been grieved by various trials, so that the tested genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and honour and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So did you notice there that he did say, in the middle of that, in this you rejoice, in this salvation, though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been grieved by various trials. So he uses this word necessary. Sometimes it is necessary. The reason he's given in these verses is that quite often our faith in God is mixed up with lots of other stuff. We think we believe in God and trust him much and love him much more than we actually do. And Peter knows all about that. I'm sure you know the life of Peter well, but in Luke chapter 22, you have this, just before Jesus goes to the cross, he's having a conversation with his disciples, and he's trying to warn them, Peter in particular, that they're about to go through a trial, a difficulty. And Jesus actually says this to his disciples, Simon, Simon, Satan has desired to sift you like wheat. But he says, but I have prayed for you, that your faith will not fail. And when you are through this, strengthen your brothers. So this is what he says to Peter in Luke chapter 22. He tries to warn him that, Simon, you're about to be tested. Now, of course, Peter reacts by saying, oh, Lord, don't worry about me being tested. I am your number one disciple. I love you to the death. Like, if you need to go and die, I'll be right there by your side. 100%. Now, some of these other guys, they may well deny you and, all this kind of stuff. But me, Lord, I'm with you to the death. And of course, the Lord goes on in Luke chapter 22 to say, Peter, before this night is over, this very night, you will deny me 3 times. So, Peter just didn't believe him. Peter said, you've got this right. You don't know me, Lord. Like, my love for you and faith in you and, it's brilliant. So, see why the Lord had to allow this? To expose the reality to Peter himself and to help Peter's faith actually be true and genuine. And break his self-confidence. This is and help Peter to learn to trust in Jesus, in the Lord Jesus, more than anything else. So God allowed Satan to test these disciples for a very good reason. Because even though it was a temporary disaster for Peter, it actually was the most beneficial thing that ever happened to him in his life, in a sense. And it resulted in him having a far more genuine faith than ever. Because think of the impact on Peter's faith through this difficulty. afterwards, after all those words came true, he denied his Lord, just as the Lord Jesus said 3 times before that night was even over. And like, he never doubted the Lord Jesus Christ like that ever again. Never again did he say, "No, Lord, you don't know me." He realized, Jesus knows me more than I know myself. It broke his confidence in himself, and it gave him a renewed and amazingly renewed confidence in Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm not that great. He realized, I can't even keep myself. I don't even know my own limitations, but he knows me. And he had said that this would happen. And he also said that he was praying for me through it, and he said that I would come through it and strengthen my brothers, just like he's doing now, writing this letter. So it had an amazing impact on Peter's faith. Peter listened to the Lord like never before, right? And for some of us, there's no other way to get us to listen, really listen, and learn to trust the Lord Jesus, to break our self-confidence. Sometimes the Lord has to let us feel even. So even though this says in this passage that it's a test, the test of his faith, it wasn't a test like we think, like pass or fail. Was Peter going to pass or fail? Because even before it started, the Lord Jesus says, I have prayed for you and that your faith won't fail. Like, the Lord wasn't going to let his faith fail. He wasn't going to fail this test, ultimately. And he says, when you come through. So the Lord knew that he was going to come through it, the better, right? So it's not like an exam. The Lord wasn't sitting back seeing whether Peter would pass or fail. He knew he would come through this, right? It would be a difficult time, because underneath it, the Lord knew that Peter, underneath all his pragmatism and bravado and pride, Peter had a genuine heart that really did love the Lord Jesus, and Jesus knew that. And that's why he says, Peter, I have prayed that your faith doesn't fail. He knew that he had a real faith in there. Right? You wouldn't know it to hear Peter by the fire, but Jesus knew it. And that's why this passage says, that though your faith is more precious than gold, though it is tested by fire. Did you notice that? So, of course, that tested, that tried by fire, that is a term that comes from the world of the goldsmith. And Peter is using the analogy here of like Jesus Christ being like the goldsmith. And we are the ore that contains the gold, right? And so within us is a seed of genuine love and faith for Lord Jesus. And to God and to Jesus Christ, that is the gold, right? That is the most precious thing. And of course you know that how goldsmith works. Sometimes you get this ore with gold in it, but there's a lot of other like stuff in there as well. There's rubble, there's impurities, and so the goldsmith has to put that ore through the fire, so the gold melts and can be extracted, and the other stuff sent away. The dross, and he gets the pure gold. And you see what Peter is saying. Sometimes Jesus Christ has to put us through the fire to get rid of the dross, the self-confidence, the impurities, the pride, to break those things and take them away so that he gets a genuine heart of love and faith in him instead, the pure gold in each one of us. And Peter's encouraging us with the same truth, that yes, you believers, you're maybe about to go through a difficult time, but you're in good hands. And do not think it's because the Lord Jesus doesn't care about you. He's actually letting this happen because he cares. You're so precious to him. That little seed you have of genuine faith in him, he will never lose. That would be like a goldsmith losing the gold. It's too precious. And each one of us, that's why Jesus is doing everything. That's why he made the world, is so that people would love and trust him. But sometimes, because our love and trust in him is mixed up with so many other stuff, he sometimes has to let the fire come, the trials, the difficulties, to refine that, to purify it, and to make that trust in him more real than ever, just as it did in Peter. So, even though I find this really comforting, because even though we go through hard times, difficult times, I can see that we're in good hands, that he is the goldsmith that will never let us go, never lose a single crumb of genuine faith in him. He will keep us through that, bring us through it, never let that be destroyed. And that one day that faith in him will result in glory, praise and glory and honour at the revelation of Jesus Christ. And that is amazing.